The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Ben Shelton's history chase at Wimbledon is over. Shelton, the only African-American to reach the quarterfinals in the men's bracket, was eliminated in straight sets Wednesday morning by Yannick Sinner of Italy. Sinner, the number one tennis player in the world, beat Shelton 7-6, 6-4, and 6-4. The 22-year-old Shelton was attempting to become the first African-American man to win the Wimbledon championship since Arthur Ashe in 1975. One of the perks for Hampton and North Carolina A&T getting chosen to play in the NBA HBCU Classic is that each school will receive a $100,000 donation from the NBA. The NBA also covers all travel expenses for both teams. Hampton and North Carolina A&T will play each other during NBA All-Star Weekend at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The All-Star Game is February 15th. This will be the 5th HBCU Classic sponsored by the NBA. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. I do not consider myself a fan of Sean Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Love, Brother Love Combs. But one doesn't have to be a fan to acknowledge a simple truth about his recent jury trial. I think the primary reason he was acquitted of those sex trafficking and RICO charges is because he was overcharged in the first place. Mine is not to opine on his guilt or innocence on any of the charges the feds brought against him. But I predicted months ago that he would beat the most serious charges because, as usual, prosecutors have a really bad habit of overcharging black men. Dave Chappelle said it best, Puffy is in a RICO case all by himself, man. Hilarious and arresting at the same time. When prosecutors put a target on the backs of black men, they throw everything at them just to see what sticks. And too often, just like in the Puffy case at the very end, they move to dismiss some of the charges and then double down on the ones they think they can win. It's racist and it's wrong, and somebody ought to say so. I think I just did. Not for the benefit of Puffy, but on behalf of all the other black men who have been and sadly will be woefully overcharged in the future. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions. This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Low-key, all of them done they notice. I'm not joking, all my guys, them know me. Since 06, I've been writing this story. I know be OG, but if you ask them know me. I know they blow trees, only lonely me lonely. Music chose me, just know this and know peace. I dey low-key, but I'm never lonely. Sexy ladies, come wine for me slowly.
I've never known you to be such a big Afrobeats guy, Miles.
So, like, physically I'm here, mentally, spiritually, I'm over there, and the music's keeping me trapped between there. So music is magic. This trip has proven to me once again, music is magic.
It's keeping you in that limbo between Africa and the United States.
You sat next to me most of the trip, Dominique. My favorite thing to do is just look out the window and just take in the nature, take in the environment, take in the the wind as it blows, and the trees and the waters and the atmosphere, like little things like that. Like I really appreciate that, and listening to the music while I'm out there, it just takes me right back to it.
Yeah, he's on his Afro beats. Ekado, that means good morning. I know I taught y'all Jambo, that was Swahili, but in Nigeria they don't use Swahili. They use Yoruba or Igbo or one of the other 200 languages that are present.
They also don't say good morning. They kind of just stare at you.
Well, yeah. I'm sure a few of them said good morning to you. You had some fans along the way. I saw. You seem like you had a high value man out there in Nigeria and Ghana.
I got a little bit of Renz too.
Yeah. You get any marriage proposals?
Almost.
A couple of our travelers did. But I mean, I'm not mad at that. Live your life. Do you? Ekado, it means good morning. Ekado in Yoruba. Anyway, it's so funny that we come home. We're on this Afro beats. I'm feeling a lot better. Sahara Ali helped me recalibrate with the sound bath and get me back in this time zone. I'm mostly here. And then the president decides to meet with, African leaders, a small group of small countries, on yesterday. And I don't know if you saw the clip. Our president is so molded. A clip of the president saying to the Liberian president, "Oh, wow, you speak such great English." It's like, it's throwback racism for me. Liberia, the official language of Liberia is, wait for it, English. They all speak English. It's like going to Ghana. And it's a reminder to all of us travelers that the official language tends to be the language of the colonizer. Black people speak French when they were colonized by the French. They speak Portuguese when they were colonized by the Portuguese. Dutch or Afrikaners when they were colonized by the Dutch, and so on. The language is not race. Anyway, the president clearly hasn't got that memo. He says, "Oh, you speak such beautiful English. Where did you learn to speak it?" And that was to Joseph Boakai, who is the president of Liberia. English is not only is it the official language of Liberia. A part of the founding of Liberia was a campaign to move Black Americans back to Africa in the 1800s. They actually resettled something like 6,000 or 7,000 enslaved persons to Liberia to go back to Africa because they weren't getting any love in the United States, and a bunch of them didn't make it. They just didn't. They didn't survive. But that's part of their founding. Clearly, he doesn't know this. And, the Africans were so polite with him. He was being obnoxious and doing the hurry up sign with his hand while people were talking. "Oh, you learned English in Liberia? Well, that's very interesting. That's beautiful English," he says. So patronizing. But those African leaders, Liberia, Gabon, forget the other countries that were there, they use the opportunity to Mauritania to try to create business lanes for themselves. And I think they did the right thing. Just like that African reporter that the president has become obsessed with. And She went a little too far, though. She said he deserved a Nobel Peace Prize. She's probably going to be his other side piece in about 10 minutes. But it's just ironic, and seeing how restrained and tactical those black African presidents were with our president in trying to make the most of the meeting, even though he was being insulting, condescending, and racist. I don't know if you saw any of that. One thing that I know, Miles, is when coming back from Africa, ever since 2016, the first time I went, when we went to Ethiopia and Ghana, I see world news about Africa differently, because I would kind of think of it as really far away, and the image in my mind was something very different. Now it's specific. You know, there are specific people. I know how the people look there. I know how it smells. I know the food. I'm not saying I know it like the back of my hand, like I know LA, but it's just different. You know, when you hear him insult somebody about Liberia, I haven't been there yet, but I know enough about it, which region it's in West Africa, what kind of food they eat, what the culture is like. It's going to be very British.
So I didn't see what he actually said. I didn't see the conversation, but yeah, I'm the same way. And I, you understand the importance that they put on things like language and, learning a different language. And they kind of not offended me, but it kind of like made me judge myself. Like, I really only know English. Like, these people are speaking 2 or 3 different languages fluently and transitioning between them flawlessly. You know what I mean? So it kind of, there are a lot of things that we can be condescending on from our perspective, but when you get into the weeds of it, it's like, we're really behind on a lot of different things. You know what I mean?
Right. Most Africans speak 2, 3 to 5 languages.
Right.
They're going to speak a couple of ethnic languages. They're going to speak the language, 1 or 2 colonizer languages, English and French, or English and Portuguese or something. And then they're going to speak, who knows what else, Chinese. A lot, like in Zimbabwe, and the schools are requiring a Mandarin because that's who's colonizing. But to me, and Fahima says in the chat, Trump needed to be briefed prior to his meeting with African leaders. It's totally embarrassing. I agree. There were only 5 of them. Wouldn't be that hard to get a briefing. What language do they speak? Basic history of the country. It is embarrassing. That'd be like going into a meeting with the Chinese president and saying, "Where did you learn Chinese?"
Right.
It makes us look so tacky and stupid.
And it plays right into the, I've had a run-in with the, with the stereotypes or names that will get called, for people over here. So, and it just plays right into those stereotypes as well. So,
yeah, you learned the word Akata.
Oh.
Yeah, which Link kindly sent us a scene from Wesley Snipes' film, which had that same word. It means cotton picker. It's a pejorative. Of course, that took me all off into a rant, because it was our cotton picking that built this country into a superpower, built the White House, built this nation that all of y'all, not all of y'all, but many of y'all in other countries aspire to come here because it's a superpower, because it's great, built on 12 generations of my ancestors' unpaid labor.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be kissing our Akata feet when it comes to that.
Stop downplaying as if, you don't know who our great leaders and great contributors are, because you wear them on your shirts and you have monuments of them, and, you speak their quotes in your books, in your language, in your teachings and musics and everything, and movies.
Okay, so you can verify what I was trying to say to some of the folks that say Africans don't have any love for us, and we just told the Akata story, but at the same time you saw, like at Slave River and at the Du Bois Center and other places where they have lots of tributes to Black Americans. There's all kinds of monuments and paintings and drawings and tributes to Black American civil rights leaders everywhere you go, in West Africa at least. So that's a thing. It's part of, it is part of their culture. And so I think that is that's important to note, because all this talk about Africans don't love African Americans. Well, I think that's overrated. There's always going to be a dumb DJ that's hating on Miles, probably jealous or whatever. There's always going to be an idiot or a racist or a culturally incompetent person. But, en masse, I think that we do have love there. They may not understand us and our struggles, but I think the love is there. 800-920-1580. I'm taking your phone calls this hour. I feel like I've been away for a long time. Let's talk. Let's air it out. Let's have some space. We got it right now. That's what we do around here. Call me. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're going right to the phones right here, going to Dwight, straight out of Compton. Good morning.
Good morning, Akata, Hotep. Thank you, Dominique, for all the things you did during the fourth birthday celebration during Juneteenth and all the celebrations KBLA has. Shout out to Miles, Tavis, the KBLA family, and all the hardworking postal workers across the nation. Dominique, thank you, the station, for everything they're doing, the information you've given us. And happy birthday to KBLA, KBLM, KLM, Black Lives Matter, LA grassroots.
KBLA, KBLM, KBLA, CK. Okay, put it all out there, Dwight. Right.
Yeah. And thank Dr. Abdullah. I enjoyed going to the event at Faithful Central Church and hearing her talk and all the great speakers you had, and hearing you talk, Dominique. You were a great host there, and it was good to get a chance to meet everyone at the luncheon. Thank you for all the great things you're doing. And I was speaking to Miles earlier. We need to set up an ICE alert some kind of way, because they travel in those dark, blacked-out vans. So that would be illegal for us to have a van. They'd pull us over for having a dark. So somehow, if we could find out 4 vans heading southbound on Crenshaw at Slauson or whatever, we know they're heading somewhere, because
there is an app. Let me see. Someone told me about an app for that.
Yeah, we got to get that together and get that on our phones. And I'm glad Mayor Bass was able to go to the
MacArthur Park. Yeah,
MacArthur Park, and stop that, because she was going to another meeting somehow, and somehow they informed her they were riding through a child event that they were having for children at MacArthur Park, and they had to gather up the children, and they ride through the park on horseback, wasting money. And there's people, flood victims in Texas, that could definitely use that money. It's so obvious that you Republicans are so corrupt. Here we are, the waste and fraud is definitely the Republican Party. I don't care all these people calling in about.
So here's the app. It's called Ice Block. It's an app that lets people who use it report or see any ICE activity within a 5-mile radius of where they are.
We can let people know. Yeah, let them know that 4 vans are heading towards Home Depot or whatever, and the people can disperse before they get there. Go into the store and pretend to be shoppers. They come through the store. Yeah. I'm going to run through the store. That would hurt Home Depot, who is a Republican supporter anyway. I'd rather go to Lowe's than Home Depot anyway, because they treated Tyrese wrong at one time. He was crying on YouTube about how Home Depot did him wrong.
Yeah, so that Ice Block is apparently on the App Store, and they don't even track you. They don't take your data, but you can use it to report if you see ICE activity in your area, and it will tell you what's happening around you within 5 miles. So somebody's on it. The internet is undefeated still.
We the people. And Dominique, the last thing on Dr. Abdullah's event, if she could have Ben and Jerry bring some dairy-free, because a lot of us black people are lactose intolerant anyway. So bring some of that dairy-free ice cream into the event too. Don't just bring the regular ice cream. Make sure.
I don't know about all that, but I'm sure she heard you. The event is Sunday, so all are welcome. And I don't know about the dairy-free. You could always go next door and buy some from All Chill. Man, they have great ice cream there. They have some dairy-free too.
Dairy-free too,
they have some vegan. They got some vegan ice cream there too.
Yep, great, Dominique. Thanks again to all the things that KBLA is doing, and thanks again for all the great things that your hosts are doing to keep our community uplifted in these hard times. Thank you, Dominique.
Mm-hmm. Sherrod says, "Don't put those apps on your phone; you'll regret it." That could be. I mean, I don't have any information on that, but I know that most apps do have some tracking. But you could do a little bit more research on your own and see what you come up with there. Molly Bell's giving us a public service announcement. The Marina post office is having their 20-year reunion. It's going to be closed. Okay, tomorrow. Good to know. Fahima from Washington, D.C., you're on the air.
Baragani and K. Pasa, Dominique, I just want to lend a perspective. So just hear me out. So Akata's original meaning is a Yoruba word which means cat or stray cat without a home. The first time it was used to characterize Black Americans is when Mr. Cooper, the late Mr. Cooper, who did the film Sugar Hill, and it was used with that infamous scene with Wesley Snipes. It has been characterized where you have Africans who may go abroad and become educated in Europe and the West, and they come home and they have adopted Western ways, and that was how it was used. The first time it was applied to Black Americans was when it was in that film. It has since evolved. But
you're saying that the film invented it? The film made it up? Because that's not my understanding.
Not made it up. In fact,
they popularized it.
No, they made that the reality. That is not the original. It was just like here in America, when sometimes when people leave and they say, "Oh, you become." You be taking on the ways of others. Akata was used to mean someone who went abroad, became educated, and they forgot their culture and they don't know who they are. The first time it was applied towards African Americans was in that film Sugar Hill.
That's not my understanding. My understanding is that was slang from Nigeria, because it is Yoruba, that was picked up by the movie because it was already in popular use as a slur against us. That's my understanding.
There's a web series called An African City, which is kind of like Sex in the City in Africa, and it depicts how it was used. It was 5 women who went abroad, were educated in Europe, and they came back, and they were treated differently, and they were viewed as stray, no longer.
Yeah, I mean, I
having
get
the
it.
culture.
I don't want to. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. You think the movie originated it? I think think people with anti-Black American attitudes originated it in Nigeria. That's what my research shows. It doesn't matter. The guy used it. It's apparently still in use. Miles didn't learn it from the movie. He learned it from Nigeria.
Okay, I'm just saying that's where it started. The meaning was changed and it evolved into this, and it has been.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I buy that. But in any case, why are you defending it? It's wrong. They shouldn't be calling us that.
I'm not defending it, Dominique.
If we wouldn't have picked cotton, you wouldn't be trying to immigrate over here.
Dominique, I'm not trying to. I'm simply explaining it. People often think when you're explaining something that you're embracing the concept. The first time it was used in that way was in that movie, Sugar Hill. And I would encourage you to speak with someone who's an elder from Nigeria who speaks that language, and they will tell you this.
Yeah, well, like I said, I did look into it, and I got a lot of. I got a different take, although everyone does talk about that movie, but they were saying the movie got it from the streets, not the other way around. That's usually how that goes.
Well, I respectfully disagree, because I have learned otherwise from speaking to people who are from Nigeria. I would just encourage you, speak to an elder from Nigeria, and they will tell you that's what Akata means, someone who has forgotten their history, who has taken on the ways of the West.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's your perspective, and so what do we do about it? You're just like, okay, you're saying I've taken on the ways of the West, so that's okay. Call me a slur that others me.
No, they're not talking about Americans. They're talking about Africans who have gone to school in Europe, in Britain, and in the U.S., and they don't know their history. They've taken on the ways of the white man, the colonizer, Munguzu. That's what it meant. And Coleman mischaracterized it and turned it into this. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that are using it in that way, but that was not the initial meaning. It was not a word for Black Americans. It was a word for Africans who lost their way.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's like sellout or Oreo.
Yes, it's the same way.
But I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure they knew Miles wasn't a guy that went to school in Europe and came back. They know we're Black Americans. They know who we are.
There was an incident that you.
Well, we got news, traffic, and sports right now. If you want to hear about it, I'll let Miles speak on it, because I wasn't even there when we come forward. Yeah. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Bronx Congressman Richie Torres is blasting New York City for failing to clean up the hub, calling it an open-air drug market with 20 overdoses a week.
The city is no closer to solving the public safety crisis in the hub. The conditions on the ground have gotten worse.
He says Black Mayor Eric Adams' crime plan is failing. A Black female electrician is suing New Jersey Transit for $10 million, alleging racial and gender discrimination. Barbara Williams, the only Black woman in her department, says she's been denied overtime and promotions and forced to supervise untrained workers, doubling her workload. And Black former NBA guard Ben McLemore has been sentenced to over 8 years in an Oregon prison after being convicted of rape. The charges stem from a 2021 party at teammate Robert Covington's home while both played for the Portland Trail Blazers. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Ben Shelton's history chase at Wimbledon is over. Shelton, the only African-American to reach the quarterfinals in the men's bracket, was eliminated in straight sets Wednesday morning by Yannick Sinner of Italy. Sinner, the #1 tennis player in the world, beat Shelton 7-6, 6-4, and 6-4. The 22-year-old Shelton was attempting to become the first African-American man to win the Wimbledon championship since Arthur Ashe in 1975. One of the perks for Hampton and North Carolina A&T getting chosen to play in the NBA HBCU Classic is that each school will receive a $100,000 donation from the NBA. The NBA also covers all travel expenses for both teams. Hampton and North Carolina A&T will play each other during NBA All-Star Weekend at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The All-Star Game is February 15th. This will be the 5th HBCU Classic sponsored by the NBA. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Hey man, hey, what's up, What's that station you listening to? Oh man, you don't know? That's Talk Radio, KBLA 1580 AM. Check it out. 1580 KBLA AM. 1580 Talk Radio. Progressive.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're celebrating our 4th anniversary, and this track right here is the gift one of our devoted listeners presented to us.
Where you get some information, get a true education to know. Ooh, yeah. 1580.
How cool is that? Having a member of our KBLA delegation write us a song. Stop it! Our listeners love us and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Wouldn't want to. Thanks to Cardell and everybody else for turning on KBLA Talk 1580. We love you right black.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
So Fahima had to go back to work, but Miles, I don't know if you want to share anything, how this whole conversation started in Africa. And I want to be clear too, because someone in the chat, Supreme B says, thank God I don't see any Nigerians in my town. I think this represents a very small group of folks acting up. We got love for Nigerians. We were treated well. You know, Nigerians are Nigerians. They have their own swagger. but we had fun, and I'm always happy to see Nigerians, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, other, but you want to share, put things in context.
Yeah, and also I feel the same way. I feel like we call people names as well as black Americans, so we're not innocent with calling people names and slurs and using that in our common language too. So I didn't take that as if it was like something personal. It was more just your assumption and how you feel at the moment, truthfully. You know what I mean? As our black cousins in a sense, right? Mm-hmm. But no, we were at the club, at the lounge. Me and you came late, and the DJ was kind of, I guess, trying to like minstrel show us into dancing and have and playing specific songs that black Americans will dance to. Your boots on the ground. You like Kendrick Lamar, so you play that 2 or 3 times. Play Boots on the Ground a couple times. Then you get into like your Uptown Funks and whatever. And I'm the person that I judge the DJ when I walk in. That's just what I do wherever I'm at. Because there's a million great songs to play. Just pick one. You don't have to keep playing the wrong song. You can pick any great song and play, and it's gonna work. But clearly he didn't know the songs to play besides what he knows. So I went up to DJ booth, empty-handed. Maybe if I had a $20 bill, it may have been a different story. But I went up to empty-handed, like, hey, bro, like, play your Afro beats, play your WizKids, your Diamond Platinum. You know what I mean? I know the artists that that we like. I can guide you a little bit, or, you know what I mean? Or if you're gonna play our music, play the right music. But we came for some Afro beats. We can hear Kendrick on the bus. We can hear Nipsey all day. We can play Bruno Mars whenever. Like, hook us up. And he turned up on me. He was like, man, we got this. I got this. It's not time yet. We play what we want to play when it's time to play it. Okay, no doubt. I went back, sat down, but I knew everybody in our group was gonna start sitting down because you're playing the wrong songs. You can only put this facade on so long. You know what I mean? And throughout the night, he was just mean mugging me. The staff was walking around, and I think it was intentional that they're walking by me. I'm hearing this Akata word, not knowing what it means until later on in the night when I talked to some of our travelers. But either way, he eventually started playing, the Afro beats, and then came up to me like, see, we're playing the song you asked for. And I'm like, no, it's too late to come ask for a tip now for playing the song that you should have been playing the whole time. So once I kind of like brushed him off after that, then he was still kind of mean mugging, and then he got back to the American music, and then we ended up leaving. So, but it wasn't until later on that night we went to the rooftop, me and a couple of travelers, and they're telling me about what Akata meant, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they were going around saying, and trying to whisper by as they're walking past us. So yeah.
Right. So it may have various subtle meanings, but we in this case we knew that it was being applied to us as Black Americans. That being said, for the most part, we got a lot of love. Daniel says you want, that was a mistake. Mistake number one for any DJ. That may be, but it was clearly he was on some stuff. What DJ plays Boots on the Ground 4 times in a row, right? And then cutting off songs in the middle. I mean, it wasn't just that. It was like, yeah, clearly he had beef, some kind of beef.
I think he had an agenda, and once he got called out on it, it's like, that's not going to work. Then he took a little offense to it. You know what I mean? I get it. As a DJ who's DJed parties before, you hate when people come up and make a request because you know what you're doing. You in your flow, you got people dancing, you have, a set list, whatever you got. I understand that. But the results speak for itself. So when people sit down, your job is to entertain people and keep the music going. You could just pass me the aux cord. I can have us rocking all night. You know what I mean? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I got jokes as well.
You could have, yeah. But it's funny though, because you're right. I mean, for us, as Black people, we call plenty of people plenty of things, including ourselves and Africans. Meanwhile, this Sierra Ortega, this girl from the Love Island reality show, got kicked off the show because of using a slur, which I'm not going to repeat, a slur that is often used on Asian people. People use it to describe their eyes, and what I'm finding out from reading about this girl, she did a very heartfelt and thorough apology, and she said she literally didn't know it was an ethnic slur, And I think that's probably true. Some people go around and say that, but I feel like this is one of the areas with us as Black Americans or Black people in general that we're less careful about other people's stuff. We're especially Asians. People are quick to do an Asian accent and think that's funny, or use the slur that this girl Sierra Ortega used. And I hope that maybe this, her losing her little reality show shine is a teachable moment where people say, oh, yeah, that's just as bad as any other slur.
Right. I mean, yes, and you're 100% right. But I mean, maybe it's a generational thing too. For him to call back in, it was like maybe just because he's a younger cat as well that he just, he's looking to offend at a certain point in time. Maybe that's not the it's not commonplace to use that word anymore. But yeah, I mean, like I said, being in the moment, I didn't take any offense to it. And even after the fact, I kind of understand.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you take it in however you take it. My issue was that to just dismiss it and say, oh, that just means stray cat. It just means somebody that, doesn't use their traditional ways. Yeah, that's one meaning of it. It's also been used and was used in this case to describe Black Americans. And that's not okay. I mean, I don't think it's okay for us. I understand you're taking in the spirit of slang and whatever it is, what it is, but I don't think it's okay for us to be held accountable to not being asking the Liberian president where he learned English, or be ugly Americans with, our imperialist attitudes, cultural imperialist attitudes. If we have to be accountable, y'all got to be accountable too.
100%, because like I said, that even though we had our perspective going over there and our ideas of the people, we did not blatantly be nasty Americans like we could have been on a lot of different fronts, for sure.
I mean, I feel like sometimes we do that and we don't realize we're doing it, but we move respectfully. That's the whole point. I mean, it's part of the point. It's the way of KBLA. It's the way of African Focus Incorporated. We do our best to be respectful. Sometimes you're going to say something you don't mean to say, or have an attitude, ew, that's, coming across as condescending or arrogant. And I think that as Americans of all ethnicities, we have to be mindful of that, because we are coming from one of the richest countries in the world. We do subjugate other countries. We do take their resources. So you don't just come in there like a bulldozer and expect everyone to, acquiesce to you. But at the same time, y'all got accountability too.
Also, there's a certain thing that here's one thing I did notice: the customer service of Nigeria, and maybe it's irrational to expect anything close to the customer service we would expect in America. Not saying the service is the customer service it always seemed to be transactional. In a sense, we were in there spending money, Dominique. We didn't come in there broke and try to get a discount and, skim you and not buy drinks and not buy food. We out there spending money, like actually spending money for a job you signed up to do. If we weren't there, it would be a very slow night for you. And you already, let me draw that back. I was about to put a little fire on it. It's already not a high-paying job for you.
Right.
So we're in there spending money, paying your salary and tipping your bartenders, and it may not be the speed you're used to on a Wednesday night, but we're in there spending money, enjoying the establishment. There's a certain amount of customer service that should come with that.
Yeah, but see, then there, I don't think you're talking about a racial or ethnic or national issue. I think it's the fact that Nigeria's got a pretty new tourism industry. Because if you go to South Africa, you get better service. If you go to, Gambia, because they're catering to tourists, they understand the market. Not so much in Zanzibar, but they tell you up front, we slow. If you're in a hurry, don't come here.
They were polite with their slowness. You know what I'm saying? They were
slowly politely slow. Yeah,
politely slow. Like we had a situation last year where it was with the my hotel room. We had to go to a different hotel across the street. But when we finally got it right, the owner of the hotel or the manager of the hotel, hey man, here's a complimentary bottle of champagne, checking in, calling me every couple hours to make sure I'm good. Do you need anything? You know what I mean?
But Zanzibar has more tourists. So I chalk that up to the fact I know Nigerians are, Nigerians got extra swagger. So maybe it is a personality thing, but I think some of it is the fact that their tourism industry is so small, and it's just they don't have the experience, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the training.
I think they just didn't want to do it. I don't think it had to do with the training, because it doesn't take any.
Nigerians with attitudes.
You're not trained to play American music either, but you were playing it because that's what your job entailed that you signed up for. I think there's a. Like I said, when the Nigerians wanted to do something, they got it done, and they did it without with a smile when it was for the right, monetary amount that they thought. That's what I realized, and I think that when it's something they didn't want to do, it turns into a whole issue.
Well, there's something that's universal with black folks.
Right.
That's not just Nigerians. But anyway, Forensic Accountant says, have you ever heard a conversation between a Nigerian and a Jamaican? They each believe they are superior.
Right.
I mean, tourism is kind of transactional. Love says, I visited Accra and Cape Coast last year, and it was transactional. I was very turned off by the treatment there. I think that tourism is transactional.
And we were paying our money, though. We paid our money and
tourism is transactional.
We weren't frivolous with our money. We were, we knew we had to spend our, we didn't come with our money to hold on to it and leave with it. We came to spend the money. So like, what more do you want from us besides all the money we came with, and we're giving it to you?
And Fahima says she didn't care for South Africa because all the fawning over you was annoying. They didn't fawn over us. I think it was because it was, almost 50 black people rolling into restaurants. Weren't necessarily all black. There was some mixed reactions. But I get it. I don't want, I'm not expecting someone to bow down. But I think Miles is talking about sort of your regular, what you expect, what we expect. What's the norm here for customer service? And you being from Vegas, Vegas is very much of a customer service town. So
yeah,
makes sense.
I've also, and it maybe it's a little deeper too, but we talk about the successes of the people from Nigeria when they do come to Americas, and
they're the most successful of any ethnic group in the whole world in terms of their college outcomes.
Right. So I'm pretty sure that's a heavy
Asian,
part of
better than Chinese, better than Japanese, better than anybody.
Right, and I think that may lead to a lot of the I'll say a little bit of I'll definitely say arrogance that comes by when it comes to some of the Nigerian people as well. Not to judge, because I understand,
and
you
also
are great.
You're stroking a broad brush because, of course, like any other group of folks, there's people with different attitudes within it. But yeah, I think that's what Forensic Accountant was getting to between the Nigerian and the Jamaican.
Right.
But you'll have to go and see for yourself. That's what I recommend. Travel the world. I can't wait to go. I'm trying to go to all 55 African nations, and I got a lot to cover. It's perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Trying to get caught up on some of these stories and talk to you about it, see where you're at. We've got our Freedman Friday conversation coming up tomorrow, and we've got a great guest. So looking forward to getting back in the saddle with that. And we are live. We're live. We're going to be talking with Attorney Jean-Pierre Brutus tomorrow, Senior Counsel in the Economic Justice Program at the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. He is a powerful reparationist, and that is a conversation not to be missed. So we're back in the saddle. Got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
LA County's Justice Care and Opportunities Department, also known as JCOD, is changing the justice system for Angelenos. If you or someone you love has recently been arrested, come home from jail or prison, or has been justice involved, JCOD can help. We offer access to housing, employment, court reminders, clothing, education, and more. At JCOD, we believe your life should not be defined by your worst moment, and everyone deserves a second chance. JCOD's Justice Connect Support Center is open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Call us at 833-LAC JCOD. That's 833-522-5263 or visit us at jcod.lacounty.gov. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube at LAC JCOD. All services are free and confidential. JCOD serves the justice-impacted population all across LA County. Your future isn't behind you, it's waiting. Reach out by calling 833-LAC-JCOD. That's 833-522-5263 or visit jcod.lacounty.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Man, the news be breaking. The breaking news be breaking. Not Molly Bell's trying to send me all these texts, trying to make sure I stay up on it. I do try to stay up on it, but I'm not going to bring you every story because we get to talking about things that are important. And yeah, appreciate the conversation. It's important. I think even hard conversations like the one we're talking about concerning relations between African Americans and Africans, to be speaking plainly, and Miles is always going to make it plain. That's a good thing. Link says that let Miles know, we all know that envy is universal, and that DJ was envious of you guys. May well be. What's a hater? Might have just been a hater. But in any case, in the breaking news, a federal judge has issued a nationwide block against President Trump's executive order around birthright citizenship. This is from Judge Joseph LaPlante. And we're going to see how this goes, because last month the Supreme Court said that lower court judges can't do nationwide injunctions. But they can still do blocks of an order through class action lawsuits. So this is the judge ruling that the immigration rights attorneys who tried to certify a nationwide class comprise only of those deprived of citizenship. In other words, they found the workaround, they're trying to use it, and the judge agrees. So we're going to see what the administration's next move is. The largest teachers union in the country is voting that to cut ties with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. ADL pushing back, saying that they're not going to be bullied out of their support for Israel. This is something we never would have seen 3, 4, 5 years ago. But now the Teachers Association, the National Education Association, is saying that they're committed to fairness for everyone, and that includes Muslims and Palestinians. So, keep eyes on that one. And look, I want to talk about this some more on tomorrow, too. The IRS is saying pastors can endorse candidates now and not lose their tax-exempt status. And the president was asked about it yesterday. He said he thought it was a great idea. And I think it's funny because he's thinking about all of the right-wing pastors that have supported him and other Republicans. And the IRS, by the way, is not saying nonprofits can do whatever they want. This is a very narrow ruling. It just says this is between a pastor and his or her congregation. However, we'll see how he likes it if we get another march on Washington. If you got an MLK level pastor, well, not that there are any, but okay. If you get a Reverend Barber, endorsing your opponent and marching on, we'll see how much he loves it then. And I bet you they're going to go after people's nonprofit status as the hypocrisy policy tour continues. Clinton from LA squeezing you in How you doing? Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, my friend? How you doing?
Good, good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just turned on the radio about this the topic that's going on now, and I find that the topic is very important, and I want to say that you're working very hard to be very nice, but the issue all over the world seems that Africans and all over the world right now are attacking Black Americans in a way that.
Give me an example. Give me one example.
Well, one example is Nigeria, for one, South Africa.
No, give me a specific example, because I was all over South Africa and was not attacked by one African. In fact, I was embraced. Miles had an incident in Nigeria with the knucklehead DJ, which he was sharing. But I need specifics, because right now you're being general.
Oh, well, once I was going to Nigeria, and I went to the embassy in Italy. And when I got there, it was just very, very harsh. In terms of getting to the country, I was questioned in terms of why I wanted to be there, but the personalities were very harsh. And then when I did get to Ghana, traveling across the border from over to Nigeria at night, it was just very difficult. I'm not saying that the country or the people were very bad, but the harsh treatment and the attitude of some of the Nigerians at the time, I just made a decision that I would not be there because my personality would not have fit. But even in Ghana, it's basically the word that they're using, and what I did. I'm not going to everything, but what I did.
That's not in use in Ghana though. That's a Nigeria thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what will we do about it? I think that we have to be very strong and get a little bit more into ourselves and understand that we're not, when we go to those nations, we're not there to be hostile, but we have to get just not tolerate it and let them know that it's not very good. And even here in the United States, I was in the process of buying a house. Nigerian person that was the agent, but she tend to sit down and let me know as a Nigerian and other black people from foreign countries were very hard-working people, and it went on. Went on and on.
Not knowing that we built this whole country that you're selling houses in. But yeah, I mean, there are arrogant people, and I want to say this because we're almost out of time. Hopefully, you'll call me back another day when we have more time to talk. Nigerian people, are famous for being a little brusque or a little, that's a cultural thing, like New Yorkers. I don't know that is specifically aimed against Black Americans. I think I've heard other Africans speak on that. So we'll have to get Uchenna Morgu in here to defend his people. He's the founder of African Focus Incorporated. But I appreciate you sharing your experiences, and Clinton, I hope you'll call me again.
I will. It'll be a little bit more organized, but it was just a very important thing that you were saying.
You don't have to be organized. Just call me earlier so we have time to talk. I got to go. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got a full show. Hopefully he's got a 100-pound show packed into a 20-pound bag today. He's got a lot going on, as usual. Freedman Friday is tomorrow. Tap in with me on social media, DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Bronx Congressman Richie Torres is blasting New York City for failing to clean up the hub, calling it an open-air drug market with 20 overdoses a week.
The city is no closer to solving the public safety crisis in the hub. The conditions on the ground have gotten worse.
He says Black Mayor Eric Adams' crime plan is failing. A Black female electrician is suing New Jersey Transit for $10 million, alleging racial and gender discrimination. Barbara Williams, the only Black woman in her department, says she's been denied overtime and promotions and forced to supervise untrained workers, doubling her workload. And Black former NBA guard Ben McLemore has been sentenced to over 8 years in an Oregon prison after being convicted of rape. The charges stem from a 2021 party at teammate Robert Covington's home while both played for the Portland Trail Blazers. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research